Okay, hello. So this is my first kind of training weekly diary with a few thoughts in there. I am going to pop this on a podcast platform as well. However, the main aim of the podcast in coming times will be to discuss more in depth on my training and more into certain aspects of kind of mindset and talking about different ways of approaching things, dealing with certain mental health and neurodiversity, dealing with the kind of wave of feminism that's going on right now. Anyway, there's lots to go into that, but also then how it relates to endurance sports and just in general. So kind of combining my two loves of like running and fitness and my postgrad in counselling. So my aim is to combine the two, and that'll be going on with mainly probably more in the podcast because I can go more in depth. I want to keep the YouTube channel kind of light and chipper and more fitnessy. So this week's training, we're going to start with training updates and then my thoughts about. I feel like I'm going to have like a weekly thought. Maybe this will probably change over time, and over time I'm hoping my content will get better and better. So bear with me. This week I have not taken a lot of content at all, and I had considered filming some of my race at the weekend, and I'm thinking, no, I'm actually putting it out there that I want to win this race. I don't think I've ever said that about a race before, so I want to win the race. So I will be doing content on the race. Training this week has looked a little bit funky. I've kind of been down with a cold. I've been down with the cold a little bit, and I've been down with the cold a little bit. So it's not going to come to its peak yet. So I'm hoping that it's either not going to be a bad cold, or I can just kind of ride it through, and it can get worse after Sunday. But yeah, I had a bit of a funk with training. I was just really tired. I've not done a lot of strength training at all this week, apart from working, because obviously races on Sunday, and taper has been rapid taper, from a rapid increase of miles to a rapid taper. But the runs I have done have actually been pretty good. I felt pretty strong. The weather's been amazing this week, so that's really helped a lot. That's kind of my training update this week. It will start to look much more exciting in the coming weeks, I imagine. But yeah, just because I've been on recovery from Glasgow to Edinburgh, then a rapid rebuild into a crazy taper, my weekly mileage is sitting pretty low, so nothing exciting, and obviously strength training has been down as well. So once I come into the strength building of my endurance block, I'll be a lot more exciting. But yeah, Sunday, so I am racing on Sunday, which is also my birthday, which is exciting. It's the main reason I'm racing on it, I think. I wouldn't have raced it if it wasn't my birthday. But I thought, what better way to spend my birthday doing something I love? So the race I'm doing is the Tweed Valley Ultra. It is 65k with just over 1,500 meters of elevation, so it is pretty hilly, but it'll be good. But yeah, I've kind of decided that I want to go out and I want to do well in it, which is not something I would probably ever vocalise, but I feel like I have to start vocalising these things, especially with my goal that's coming next year. So that's kind of the main, once I have just the kind of final confirmation of stuff that I'm doing next year, I will start talking about it better. Right now it's just the project or whatever, but yes, I will definitely get onto that soon. And then so my thoughts this week, one of my main things, and especially it has been around my project a lot as well, is kind of the fear of failure, the fear of being told no, or maybe no, the fear of failure, so the fear of asking, the fear of being told no, and that frustration of knowing where I want to go in the next kind of 7 months and having to get there. I'm just so difficult. I suppose I want to talk a little bit more into the fear of failure, which will be, I want to do a full podcast episode on this. Like, my podcast episodes are only going to be like 10-15 minutes long, so they're totally listenable. Listenable? Is that a word? Have I made that up? Maybe. Just kind of, I suppose, for so long I lived in a routine that I was not comfortable in the routine, but I was safe. So I wasn't happy and I wasn't necessarily thriving, but it was safe, and I knew safety in what I was doing every day. And for me last year, that routine kind of got completely flipped on its head, just with a few personal things. And it was like that flipping on its head. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And I feel like I fought that transition and that change for so long that it was when I got injured in March, I think I fully was like, right, I need to change. Like, this is, something needs to happen. And I would say through my running, things have started to change, and I've started to almost like wonder what I could do. And there was another aspect in 2023. Yeah, so there was like a lot of things in 2023 that went on in my life, and it's all just kind of come together. And I suppose it's like, this is kind of maybe the result of it all coming out now, and my kind of processing through that journey. But now I'm putting myself in the place of like, if I don't try, like, I can't fail, but if I can't fail, then I'll never have tried anyway. So it's that scary bit of thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to put myself out there, see what I can do. And if I fail, like, that's okay. I have for me, I think my relationship with failure is a fearful one, but it's also something I'm pretty okay with. Like, if I know I have done the process the best I can, the end goal isn't necessarily the main focus. Like, my project, obviously the main goal of this project is massive, and I would be devastated if I didn't fulfill it, but it's not really the 7 days that I'll be on the project. It's not really that, it's the journey of it all. And that goes for a lot of the things that I tend to do. Like, it's a journey. I want to do these big races and projects mainly so I can train. Like, so I have a purpose to my training, so I can train really hard, so I can have goals, so I can have focus. But yeah, so that's the fear of failure, is kind of like, we seem to have a fear of, that massive fear of failure of like, well, what happens, or what if, or what could have been. And then we look back, and a lot of the times I personally reflect and go, oh, if I just like done that differently, or I wonder if I could have done this, or what about that. And now I'm thinking, oh, do you know what, I don't care, like, I'm just going to try. And if it doesn't work out, at least I can say I tried and be okay with that. But I feel maybe it's a British society thing, I really don't know. We do have such a fear of failure. We just kind of cave in on ourselves, and it's like, if our goals aren't so big that we might be able to fail, then maybe they're not big enough. You know what I mean? Like, there was a podcast I listened to a while ago, and it was kind of around the time that I did set this big goal, and it was like, if your goals don't seem impossible, they're not big enough. And when I thought of my initial project, I thought that is impossible. Like, don't be silly. And now as I'm starting to plan, it's possible. This is possible. And it's just kind of changing the way of looking at things, of what is failure, what are we scared of, and embodying that. It's like, I get so scared about things. I have so much anxiety, it's ridiculous. I'm literally a little like ball of anxiety. Not really about big stuff, to be fair. I think this is why I'm so chill with like different aspects of failure, because my day-to-day life, I'm such an anxious person, and then come a big event, I'm like, it's chill, it's got it, it's all right, I'm not too bad about it, it's fine. I think it's quite funny, but that's just the way my brain is wired. And I think if some people don't always have the day-to-day anxiety, then the big stuff can create a lot of nervousness and a lot of fear. Whereas I think if you have a general anxiety kind of baseline, there's only so high you can go on the anxiety scale. So the change in that is not as big. However, it also means that you set your natural baseline is too high, essentially, which then totally messes up your nervous system. But so that's kind of where I'm at with my fear of failure. I'm thinking I could fail this project. I could fail on everything that I ask for. I could fail on getting to my goal. And it's that frustration with what I see on social media is like not everybody, that's such a lie, but it feels like everybody is where I would like to be now. You know, you see, and because you follow people who you would like to be like, I suppose, or that would lift you up. If you were in a room with them, you would lift to their level. So you kind of think, oh, they've already got this. Like, how have they got this already? And a lot of them are a lot younger than I am. And then I just think, well, I have to go through the process. Like, something on social media is we don't see the day-to-day process. We don't see everything that happens every day of people planning, people working, people grinding, and how long that can take. And for me right now, I'm sitting in a bit of a frustration. Like, the next few weeks is probably going to be a little bit of a, I have to finish my uni work, and then I think December I'll do a lot of focus on the project, and then after December it should kind of all be, if everything goes to plan, which nothing ever goes to plan, really more in the works. But it's that frustration, it's that waiting period, that holding period that can be so tough. And I think that's maybe part of the fear of failure, is we don't like that waiting period. We either want to just not try and not do something, or we want it to be done and we want to know that we've succeeded at it. And it's sitting in that unknown holding period that's really tough. And that's where I am right now. It's still a little bit too early to actively be doing loads of stuff. And also because I have uni. Must do uni essay, Sarah. Must do the essay. So it's that period of just holding and sitting with that feeling that's really hard. And we don't speak about that feeling. Or I don't feel like we do. We don't speak about that horrible in-between phase of maybe knowing, maybe wanting to risk something, but not being sure, not being ready, not being confident enough. The whatever that emotion is that you can't, I don't feel like you quite have a word for it. It just feels a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe it's just uncomfortable, unknown, but it's just that, like, I'm in a holding pen, and sometimes it's sitting in the holding pen that's just, but we've got the fear of the waiting, or we can embrace it. So today I am so that is basically, today is embracing the fear of failure. I also wanted to just acknowledge that what is so important in all this, and kind of any messages I give out, any mindset stuff I touch on, is that I personally respect every single person's process that they go through. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that everyone's process is different, and some people, their processes and where they are in life needs to be respected, and it can often be like, routine is survival. Like, for me, for so many years, routine is my survival, and even now it is. Like, we're all just surviving, and how we survive looks different to everybody, and the process of that looks different to everybody. And sometimes the fear of failure, maybe we don't want to do anything else, maybe we're just quite happy, and that is happy, and that is our happiness, and that is absolutely fine. So it's also that way of acknowledging, like, we don't always have to be striving for bigger goals. A lot of people will want to be doing that, but a lot of people are very content where they are, and it's being completely respectful of that. So if I'm talking about mindset or trying to do something else, I also want to respect and acknowledge that for me personally, I don't think anyone should ever be pushed into feeling inadequate for not trying to do something more or have a bigger goal. There's so much talk of, like, we should all have big goals, we should all be striving and trying to do more, and that is not always where somebody needs you to be, or where somebody should be, but when we're constantly given those messages, it makes us feel not good enough in where we are at the moment. So yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that before this maybe goes further into bigger mindset chats or whatever. It's just really acknowledging our process, and that we also have to acknowledge everyone else's processes are their own, and being incredibly respectful of that. So yeah. Anyway, I wish I had a cool catchphrase to finish off this, but I don't yet. Maybe I will find one, I don't know. And then yeah, so my plan is to do these every week. Hopefully next week I will be able to debrief the ultra. That'll be next week's video. It's going to be debriefing the ultra, and yeah, getting into whatever happens on Sunday.